dear friends, partners, and viewers from around the world. Today we gather to commemorate the victim of October 7 massacre. This event stands as one of the most significant tragedies in modern history, comparable to the Holocaust. It is crucial to acknowledge that during this tragedy, Hamas was accused of committing war crimes by intentionally targeting civilians while using their own civilians as shields. Unfortunately, this led to a global increase of anti-Semitic sentiment attacks against Jewish communities, with some individual groups and people celebrating those actions, which made all the situation much more terrible for us. We come together to pay our respect to innocent victims and to call for a world where such atrocities are never repeated. We are here today, while Hamas still has in Gaza 240 hostages, including children, elderly people, women and men. And until they are all released, no ceasefire or humanitarian pause will be accepted. Our broadcast is live on Zoom, Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. A full recording will be available on the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement website and social media channels. On October 7, Hamas coordinated an attack on Israel by infiltrating the southern communities. With 3,000 terrorists, they went community by community and murdered everyone on their way. More than 1,400 people were murdered in less than 24 hours. To start today, I will ask everyone at home, in your offices or anywhere, to stand up for a moment of silence to remember all the victims of the massacre in October 7. Thank you. Joining us are family members of 3 victims from different regions, symbolizing all Israeli families who have suffered the loss of a loved one. We have Adar Elion. She's a sister of Shira Elion, who was murdered at the Nova Music Festival in Reim. On Saturday, October 7, Shira was dancing with her childhood friends. Then she was murdered. Shira was only 23 years old. Adar, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
I would love if you can tell us a little bit more about your sister.
Of course. Shira was very, very gentle, very kind, very quiet, but very mature. She never had to scream her opinion to be strong or to be heard. She never had to do it. She was very kind, she was vegan, and she loved animals. We used to volunteer together in an animal shelter. And she was so special. She loved to travel. She just came back from India and Sinai. And she was supposed to start university at Ben Gurion, a degree in psychology. And I know that she would have been an amazing therapist because all she wanted to do is just spread her kindness, and she was so smart. And at Friday night, she and her 2 best friends went to the party. Her and Amit, they know each other from when they were 3. They always been together, and they also murdered together. They found their body next to each other after 5 days of being missing. And May, it's the third friend, she survived it after got shot in the legs and pretended to be dead. Yeah.
And she could tell the story of what happened?
No, apparently, she told us that once the shooting was started, first of all, there was bombing over there. Shira called my dad at 7 a.m., telling him that she's fine, but she's too scared to drive. So she's gonna wait for a few minutes till everything will calm down, then she's gonna go straight home. She was in the middle of a panic attack. May told me that her and a few friends hide behind some iron garbage, and they heard shooting come near them. So they spread. Everybody ran for a different direction, and that was the last time May saw Amit and Shira. Another friend told me that him and Amit and Shira were running away from terrorists holding a shotgun, and he just ran faster than them, so he didn't saw what happened. He heard Amit shouting, but he couldn't finish the story. And a few days ago, my parents learned from one security guy that found Shira's and Amit's body that at around 2 p.m., he found two girls lying next to each other. Shira was still alive, but dying. She couldn't talk because they shot her in the throat. So he lifted her and he tried to take her for someplace safe. And he put her on the ground. He hid her. But then there was shooting again, so he ran away. And only a few days after, he came back to try to find her body. It took 5 days to recognize her. At the beginning, we thought she died at the very beginning, so she didn't get a chance to be scared, and she didn't run away, and she didn't hide. But he proved us wrong. So now I'm heartbroken knowing that I don't know how much time she was lying over there until she was actually dead. I don't know what she felt, if she was scared, if she knew she's gonna die. I don't know. It's breaking my heart to think about that.
Thank you for telling that. What do you think she's leaving behind her to the world? What is her legacy that you're gonna see after her?
I feel like Shira's job, she always spread light everywhere. Right now, I always picture her as a fairy. And I feel like her job was to always unite everybody. She united her friends, she united her family, and sadly, in her death, and the other kids in this party who died in their death, they united us. We were very divided before that. And I feel like we can't forget this. We can't have short memory about it. Once this war will end, we can't go back. It will be a crime. It will be like they're dying all over again. And I feel like right now, the trust towards the government is broken. And we maybe won't be able to fully recover from this ever. But we have each other. We're, as a people, as a country, we're very united right now, so I hope it will stay.
I think it's not just the country, but also the Jewish communities around the world standing up.
Yeah, the Jewish community is amazing.
And we need that. What are you going to miss the most about your sister?
She was so special and so smart and so independent and mature, like way more than her age, way more than me. And she was my friend, and she just got to the age when she finally can be more than just my little sister. She finally can be my friend, and I was very excited about it, to see what woman she'll become. And I'm so sad that I won't be able to see it. It's like somebody took her away from me. They took the chance of us being together, and they stole, I feel like they stole my entire family happiness. So I'm gonna miss her, not just as my little sister, but also as a friend that I need to consult with, and I need to talk with. And
thank you. So thank you, Adar, for sharing the story of your sister and her legacy.
Thank you.
So hopefully your message of unity will go on and the support of each other. I would like to move to David Bar, who is the brother-in-law of Naomi Sheritz. She was murdered near the community of Yad Mordechai on October 7. Naomi went for the usual run with her friends, and rockets began to fall, rocket fire by Hamas toward Israel, while the infiltration happened. She tried to find a shelter to protect herself. While searching for a safe place, Hamas terrorists find her and murder her. David, if you can tell us more about your sister-in-law, please.
Naomi, I've known for over 40 years, since I met my wife. She was the second youngest of 10 siblings, but she had the motor to unite the family. She was born in Nativot and married a Sderot boy and lived in Sderot, but carried on working in Nativot for 25 years. She was a dental medical secretary, and for the last 8 years she became part of Keep Fit within the area of the south of Israel, Nativot, Sderot. She would have been 53 this week. And the loss is terrible. It's the way it happened and how it happened. It's hard for us. We knew already that she'd gone out, well, I suspected. I live on kibbutz Halumim, which is between Be'eri and Kfar Aza. So we were under attack. And I mentioned to my wife, I said, wait a minute, what about Naomi? She normally goes out on Saturday morning for a run. And my wife wanted to feel, oh, she'll be okay. We always felt she could look after herself because that's what she was like. She was always worrying about everybody else, making sure everybody else is happy, always putting her troubles aside. She had this smile, which south of Israel used to call it, the smile of the south of Israel. And by 12 o'clock, I asked my wife to start phoning her brothers and sisters.
And you were in Alumim at the time.
We were in
with
Alumim,
rocket alerts and mortars fired.
Rocket alerts and terrorist infiltration. So we were actually in the bomb-proof room. And Naomi was one of our worries. I have 2 other families in the area of our own children. But I knew she always ran around the area of Sderot, Yad Mordechai, and then we saw the pictures of the terrorists already in Sderot, 7:15 in the morning. So we put 2 and 2 together. By 12 o'clock, we were beginning to get messages from her family that it doesn't look good. There's no contact with her anymore. And then we had that period of, well, kidnapped or killed, or both. By Saturday night, we had received information that confirming, not officially, her death. That she'd been shot between Yad Mordechai and Netiv Asara. They went for a run there. They started their run. The rockets came over. They hid behind, I know exactly where, behind a cement wall. And then they must have seen, because one of the runners who she was with survived, and he actually described everything. They saw hundreds of terrorists coming in on the back of, how he says, like cars from the UN, those open cars, hundreds of terrorists, and he couldn't believe his eyes. Soldiers came to help them. Some of them were killed as well. As the terrorists approached, they shot one of her friends, Kobi, and he was killed instantly. And then, as we were described, she was shot in the back and shot in the head from point-blank range, cold-blooded murder. And they thought they'd also killed her running partner. Somehow he survived as more troops came to try to get them out. It took 4 days for us to get identification of the body, because more and more bodies were being taken to the central place for the gathering of those who had been murdered. And those were 4 days of anguish, awful, absolutely awful. At the same time, we were also evacuated, and we couldn't leave the area with the rest of our kibbutz. We had to stay quite close. But on the Wednesday morning, we were told that her body had been identified via the DNA, and she was brought to rest in Sderot, a very quick funeral, which she didn't deserve. And under fire, we had to bury her. Just 3 beautiful children, 26, 23, and 19. And a husband, and she'll be sorely missed.
Thank you for sharing, David. Thank you very much. I'd like to move on to Galit Lapidot. And before we're going to hear your story, Galit, we have a video to share about the story of the person that you represent. So if we can play the video.
Tiferet was my niece. She was so special for me. Do you know the song, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine"? And that's the song, the part said, "If don't take my sunshine away." They took my sunshine away. For 11 days, we didn't know if Tiferet was alive. 11 days it took to recognize her body. That means Tiferet wasn't in a good shape. When the body came with a talit on the top of it, I was quiet until that point. And then I shouted for the last time. For the last time I shouted at my baby that she's there, and then I could just call her name for the last time. Tiferet, Tiferet. And I ran to her body, and I hugged her, and I smelled her. It was a good smell. And she didn't have a leg, and she didn't have an arm. They cut my baby in pieces, those animals. You know, בכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו. Every now and then, there's a group who wants to kill us. Not this time. Because we are here, and we are together to give a voice. And we will rock this world until our people come back. And we will be their voice.
Galit.
You know, sometimes when we started to speak about our loved ones, then I have like a feeling that we're making her bigger. And that's not the case here. Tiferet, the name is Glory in English. And she was Glory. She was 23, and she was like at the height of everything. She was a woman, and she was so, so wise. And she was a sunshine. Wherever she went, people like were startled. And she didn't take all the room, but she was there. And people wanted to be with her and wanted to be with her all around. And when she finished the Ulpana and Harish, that's Tiferet. So she went to volunteer 2 years, 2 years with special needs, children with special needs. And then she went to South Africa, also to special needs. She didn't ask if the children are Christians or Muslims. We don't care. This is not where we come from. Everybody is equal, and we just want to help people. And that's what she did. And then she started to like travel, and people like followed her wherever she went. And India, and then Thailand, and especially Australia. She fell in love in Australia, not She loved Australia. And she felt free. She came from an Orthodox family, and she thought about her choices in life. We call it in Hebrew, Masa Gibora. It's like
The path of a hero.
Heroes.
a hero.
Heroes mission.
Hero's mission.
But for a woman.
Heroine.
Heroine, that's it.
Yes.
Thanks. And I think I'm the only one who told her to keep on, because her family said, "What's going on? You had to come after 4 months. You had to come back. What's going on?" And I was calling her. I said, "Keep
The aunt
going,
that is pushing.
keep going," because you have to study here social work. And then because she came from an Orthodox family, I said, "You'll get married. So just wait. Just wait for another year. Everything will wait. I promise you." And luckily for me, I have call messages that how much she loves me, and I send her how much I loved her, and she was my sunshine. And all the time when she was calling me, I started to sing, "You are my sunshine, my only
My
sunshine."
sunshine.
And I didn't get to the part, "Please don't take my sunshine away," because it was too far. We're so normal here in Israel, especially where I live in Tel Aviv. It's like Toronto. I came back now it looks the same. The system, we're liberal. And now we're speaking like it's a big nightmare. What's going on here? Everybody's like, everybody has the same eyes. Like, we're shocked.
We're shocked. But can you tell Tiferet on October 7? She was also at the
Nova.
Nova Music Festival.
She had to go back to Australia after 3 days. She came at 5 o'clock. She arrived. And we don't know a lot, but Ido, her friend, came with her, and he said that something's going on. And they got in the car with another 10 people. And then Tiferet said, "Stop, I'm going to Rani." Rinat, her friend.
Yeah.
That's Tiferet.
Because she left Rinat's.
No, she wanted to go out of the car. They survived. She went out of the car and be with Rinat. So this is Tiferet. That's how Tiferet was raised. She's going with her friend. And Ido and another 10 people survived and came to the Shiva and told us. Once, at 11 months, we didn't, 11 days. For me, I say months, and I don't think I'm mistaking all the time with months and days, because I felt it's like, we didn't know what day it was, like all of us.
Yes.
After 11 days, they identified, I think the body was in a very bad condition. We don't know what happened in the last hours. I was very calm because I was looking for my big brother, Tiferet's father, and my smaller brother, and all our kids. 14 grandchildren. So I was like, and I'm the big, so I was like, but when they rolled Tiferet inside with a talit, and we're not used to like hug our died, so everybody hugged her. And that's what I saw in the video.
Thank you. Thank you, Galit. To Sunshine. I know that, Adar, you have something to add.
Yeah. I wanted to say to the people, if people outside of Israel watching us right now, we just came back from a delegation in a few countries, and I want to say that indeed the Jewish community was amazing and so supported. And most of the time, the government was so supported. They keep telling us they stand with Israel. But in the same place, in Europe and in America, there is so many people who protest against Israel right now. And as much as I appreciate the government who stood with Israel, I see the hate, I see the violence against Jewish people. And in 5 to 10 years, those people who protest against Israel would be in a leading position. And it's like they're telling us, it's like they're shouting that our life, it doesn't matter. the people that we lost, their life doesn't matter, anything. It's like we don't have the right to defend ourselves. And it's like they're killing them again and again and again. And I want to ask why? Why is our life doesn't matter? Why don't we have the right to defend our loved ones? Why is my sister and the rest of the people who die in the party and in the nearest cities, they were murdered just because they were Jewish. Nothing at all. We weren't in the middle of a war. They weren't soldiers. They just came to a peace and love party. Yes. So it's a crime against humanity. It's not just a war crime. So I don't see why. Why?
I cannot answer that, and I'm asking the same question, but thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
I agree with you. It's anti-Semitism. This is the answer.
Can I
Zionism is
just
anti-Semitism.
Yes, one last word. Yes.
Thank you for the government of Canada. I was there in Toronto. Thank you very much for the Canadian and for all the Canadians, the Jewish community. Thank you from my bottom, from our heart. It makes us very, very strong. Thank you, thank you.
So as you hear, the international support is critical for us right now and today in Israel. Now I would like to invite everyone around the world to listen to the tefillah, the prayer of El Maleh HaChachamim, a Jewish prayer for the soul of a person who passed away, by the Chief Military Cantor, Lieutenant Colonel Shai Abramson.
El Maleh Rachamim, El Maleh Rachamim, Shochen במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה. במעלות קדושים טהורים וגיבורים כזוהר הרקיע מאירים ומזהירים לנשמות חללי מערכות ישראל שנפלו במלחמות ישראל בפעולת הגנה תגמול וביטחון בעת מילוי תפקידם ובעת שירותם ושחרפו נפשם למות על קדושת השם. על קדושת השם. שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו וייצור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם בגן עדן, בגן עדן ושלום על משכבותיו ויעמדו לגורלם לקץ הימים ונאמר
You know, there are moments in this life, and I mean this literally, when the pure, unadulterated evil is unleashed on this world. The people of Israel lived through one such moment this weekend. The bloody hands of the terrorist organization Hamas, a group whose stated purpose for being is to kill Jews. This was an act of sheer evil. More than 1,000 civilians slaughtered, not just killed, slaughtered. Among them, at least 14 American citizens killed. Parents butchered using their bodies to try to protect their children. Stomach-turning reports of babies being killed. Entire families slain. Young people massacred while attending a musical festival to celebrate peace. Celebrate peace. Women raped, assaulted, paraded as trophies. Families hid their fear for hours and hours, desperately trying to keep their children quiet to avoid drawing attention. You all know these traumas never go away. There's still so many families desperately waiting to hear the fate of their loved ones, not knowing if they're alive or dead or hostages. Infants in their mother's arms, grandparents in wheelchairs, Holocaust survivors abducted and held hostage. This is terrorism. But sadly, for the Jewish people, it's not new. This attack has brought to the surface painful memories and the scars left by a millennia of anti-Semitism and genocide of the Jewish people. So in this moment, we must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. There's no justification for terrorism. There's no excuse. Hamas does not stand for the Palestinian people's right to dignity and self-determination. The stated purpose is the annihilation of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people. They use Palestinian civilians as human shields. Hamas offers nothing but terror and bloodshed with no regard to who pays the price. The loss of innocent life is heartbreaking. Like every nation in the world, Israel has the right to respond, indeed has a duty to respond to these vicious attacks. And we stand ready to move in additional assets as needed. Let me say again, to any country, any organization, anyone thinking of taking advantage of this situation, I have one word: don't. Don't.
October 7 left many people alive with images in their mind they will never forget. The traumas will last a lifetime. On that day, the world bore witness to crimes that surpass our darkest nightmares. It was a day when innocent lives were dispersed, families shattered, and our shared humanity put to a test. The events of that day are now permanently recorded in history and have changed us deeply. We urge the world to ensure that never again truly means never again, to keep the memory of what happened alive, especially now, as Israel defends itself with the goal to eradicate Hamas. We have with us a survivor of the music festival massacre, Alon Marek. Alon just came back from his big trip to discover the world after serving 3 years in the IDF. And he miraculously saved his life and the life of his friends. Thank you for joining us, Alon. If you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Hello, Sasha. Thank you for inviting me to speak. So my name is Alon. I'm 24 years old. I live in Haifa, and I attended the Nova Festival. So actually, it was my friend of mine. He bought himself a ticket about 3 months before the festival. He was all so excited about the festival, and he was speaking with me about this festival for all this period, for these 3 months. And I was like, I wanted to have the benefit of maybe going, maybe not going. I wasn't sure I'm gonna be in Israel. So I didn't bought myself a ticket until the night before the festival, when he called me and he told me, you're coming with me to the festival, I'm gonna buy you a ticket and you're coming with me. So I gave him the green light, he bought me the ticket and we attended to the festival. So we arrived to the festival about 2 a.m. We immediately started to arrange all of our camping gear, put our tent, set the chairs and everything. We met a few friends of my friend from his team in the military service. And this festival was all about joy and peace, and it was full of beautiful people, everybody dancing. And I actually remember myself hugging my friend for a moment. It was maybe 5 a.m. I remember I was hugging him and I was telling him, I'm so happy you bought me this ticket and that I came with you. I'm having the time of my life. And at about 6:30 a.m., everything changed. The scene was completely different. So it started when the producers of the festival went on stage and asking everybody to, they turned off the music and
But you were in the middle of a music festival dancing and you didn't pay attention to anything, like nothing was just normal?
Everything was completely normal. The beauty of these festivals is that everybody comes and they can express themselves and they can be whoever they want to be. They can be themselves. So everybody is just really, it's such a joyful event.
And then in one moment...
And in one moment, everything
So you were dancing
changed.
and then one moment what happened?
So I was dancing on the main stage with so many people. And the producer actually went on stage, turning off the music, and asking everybody to lay down on the ground because rockets being launched from Gaza into Israel territory. It was actually, I remember he was saying it was not a joke because everybody was not understanding exactly what was happening. So we all lay down on the ground immediately, and it was enough just to look at the sky. Like you could see tens of rockets, and you can see the Iron Dome system, the Israeli air defense system, exploding the rockets while being in the air. So everybody was really lying on the ground, and after 15 minutes that we saw it won't end anytime soon, he asked everybody to pack all of his belongings and go to the cars and go back home as quickly as possible. So my friend and I, we went back to the tenting area. It was almost 7 a.m. We packed everything. We said goodbye to all of our friends we met at the festival and starting to go to the parking direction of the car. It took us also about 10 minutes to find the car. Then we entered the car, and I can tell you, I remember we heard like shooting, like I can say it now, but at the time we didn't understand. Yeah, I know the difference between a sound of a missile that's exploding and the sound of a
Can you speak with your family at this moment?
I don't know. My family actually, they just came back from abroad, like they landed at 4 a.m. So they weren't aware. So we entered the car, we started driving. Actually, so we started driving, and there was a jam. There was a jam because going out of the festival, you have one road, and you could either turn right towards the south or turn left towards the north. So us living in Haifa, we took left. And again, it's like everybody, all of our surroundings, everybody was completely unaware of what was happening. Everybody thought it's rockets, and so there are panic on the scene, but nobody, like, we're used to it. It's really sad to say it, but we're used of rockets being launched for Gaza, so people are still gathering themselves together. So we take the left turn, going out of the festival, and we start driving a line of cars, everybody escaping what we thought was rockets. And maybe 3-4 minutes later, we see all the cars in front of us in the line just doing a big U-turn and going back towards the festival. The people were panicked, but nobody opened his window or shouted something. Like, there was a complete misunderstanding of the situation. So everybody in front of us just did a big U-turn, and we arrived at the situation that we were the first car in the line, and everybody that were in front of us already went back. So I take my head out of the window and I look in front of me, and I can see 200 meters in front of me some cars on the side of the road next to shelters against bombings. And okay, so I tell my friend that must be the police, that they blocked the road, or the military that they blocked the road because a missile or a rocket had fallen. So let's start driving, and if it's the police, they're gonna tell us they blocked the road, and we'll find a new way to come back home. Like, this is what you assume. So we start driving, and then I look to my right, and really maybe 20 meters away on the side of the road, I see 3 police officers walking shoulder to shoulder with their guns in their hands, and they're walking towards something. And then I look 30 meters forward, there was a big tree next to the shelter, and I look, and there's a small car, like a minivan, a white minivan, and I can see at least one Hamas terrorist that I saw with the green bandage on his head with a machine gun aiming at the police. And immediately I scream at my friend who was driving, like, take your head down and drive as fast as you can, because I can see a terrorist. And it was all happening like on the side of the road. So we took our head down and we drove as fast as we could. And all the cars that I saw when we stopped on the road, all the cars, the windows were broken, the glasses were shattered. You could see blood on the road. I hadn't had the time to look inside the cars, but I can imagine there were bodies as well, which we later understood that the terrorists were on the road, firing at every car that was passing by, exactly. And the moment...
Can we do a fast forward? Like you see terrorists, like you are in the middle of, you are in a festival. Like then what happened? Like, or you came back then home, well, like, or you save yourself at the end?
So yeah, as soon as we passed this scene, we drove as fast as we could, and we didn't understand what was happening. We thought maybe, okay, so there's a few terrorists who managed to filter themselves into Israel, but never would have we thought that it's that big, like this dimension of an event. So we drove, and yeah, we managed to escape. Actually, there was a rocket also that had fallen next to the car, like 50 meters away, while we were driving to the north. It feels like really like a war zone. Like, you could see clouds, big dark clouds on your right, on your left, and explosions.
A scene of a war zone for you.
Yeah, exactly. A scene of a complete war without even understanding the quantity of terrorists that had filtered themselves into Israel.
You saw terrorists attacking people, and I think that is estimated about 300 young people were killed at the Nova party. So we are 31 days today later on. What left in your mind from this day? Like, how you live today, and what is in your mind these days?
Yeah, so the first days were really difficult, but because I was called up to do the military service once again, reserves. Yeah, exactly. And then they canceled me. They told me maybe later during the week. So I stayed home, and it was the most difficult because you watch the news, you just passed a really horrific moment yourself, and it was really difficult just trying to understand what to do. but the surrounding was really amazing, and my family and my friends helped me, and I think as myself, as a strong person who knows to deal with tough things. So yeah, as the day passed, I felt a lot better, and I actually I have so many people reaching to me, psychologists, and they opened a place for survivors of the Nova Festival, so people who were there can attend and share their stories and talk, and it's really like a healing place, and the surroundings have been really amazing, and yeah, so
glad that you are well encouraged, and that's important for continue. We have also online Michal from kibbutz Nirim. Michal, today she's saved, but during this October 7, she was with her kids and her husband, closed in a shelter for about 17 hours, I believe. And these 17 hours, she saw the worst of humankind. She saw the worst and things she couldn't believe, but she made it. And I'm glad that you are with us today, Michal. So if you don't mind to share with us what happened for you and your family on October 7th.
Well, 6:30 in the morning, alarms started going off on the applications and also red alerts in our kibbutz. And my house is located on the last line of the houses in the kibbutz. So after my house, there's only the fence of the kibbutz, some agriculture fields, and then the Gaza Strip. So we could also hear rockets being launched towards the Tel Aviv area. So as we are running to the safe room and taking the kids with us, we understand that this is something really, really big and different than we know from other escalations that we had in the area. My husband, he's a police officer in a operational unit, and he also does a reserve duty in the Gaza division. So he went out of the safe room, he got ready, he got dressed with his uniform and his weapons, and he was waiting on the phone to be called for reserve duty. And he was trying to figure out what was going on, and we were trying to figure out from the news what was going on, but we didn't understand, and nothing was coming on the news. All this time, the rockets are still being fired and alerts all the time. And I'm telling my children, just get dressed and put on some shoes. The minute we have a chance, we're gonna run to the car and we're gonna run away, leave the area. Leave everything behind, never mind, we'll manage, but we have to get out of here. And this is going on for quite a while. All the time, there are alerts, they don't stop. And I'm going in and out of the safe room trying to collect some stuff to pack. And at one point, I'm standing in my bedroom, and then we hear gun blast really, really close to our house. And I'm looking at my husband, and we're raising eyebrows and like, what is this? Why are they shooting in the kibbutz? Why? Maybe it's the army, but why is the army shooting in the kibbutz? And then we hear shouting in Arabic, and we understand that we have terrorists in the kibbutz. They penetrated the kibbutz. And I'm running back to the safe room. I give my kids body armors, and I give my oldest daughter pepper spray. I give my middle daughter a club, and my son, I give him a helmet with straps inside, and I don't tell him that they're terrorists in the kibbutz, but I tell them, whatever comes through that door, we have to fight. Fight for your life and don't give up. And all this time we're hearing shooting. And the shooting is in our house, and it's just beyond the safe room's door. And it's getting really intense. And then my husband comes in and closes the door, and he said that he just killed a terrorist trying to get into the house. And as he was finishing the sentence, they started shooting again at us with rifles. And then after a few seconds, there was this enormous explosion. And we were flown back, and the whole safe room was filled with smoke and gunpowder smell, and our ears were ringing. and we lost electricity, so we were sitting in the dark. We didn't have time to, we couldn't take our time to understand what was going on. We immediately stood up. My husband gave me a gun. He was looking at me, and we were telling each other that we're fighting till the last bullet that we have, whatever comes through that door. All this time, they're still shooting at the safe room's window because they thought that if they were shooting grenades and RPGs at our house, then maybe we would escape from the window. But we kept it shut and we stayed inside. And my husband is telling me, if we don't get out of this alive, then I want you to know that I love you. And I said, no, don't. We're gonna make it. We have to fight. And all this time, my children are silent and they're lying on the floor with vests on them. And we're sitting like this for hours and hours, just sitting one next to another with our weapons pointed through the door. I don't know why they decided to move on and not to come inside and confront us or fight with us, but they came back. We could hear them outside all the time. They were shooting, going back and forth and shouting. And on the kibbutz's group WhatsApp, we could see that everybody is starting to experience similar things like us. They can hear them in the house. They can hear things breaking. The safe rooms are starting to fill up with smoke because they're burning down houses. And people are crying for help, and we're sitting there and we're hopeless and we're frustrated because we don't know what's waiting for us outside the safe room's door, and we can't go out. This goes on for hours and hours, and we're waiting to be rescued. And at one point, finally, the army comes and rescues us. And they take us to the center of the kibbutz, the community center, and about 24 hours later, we get evacuated completely, the whole kibbutz, out of the area, and we're evacuated to Eilat. I don't think we could ever fully understand and comprehend what we went through that day. My children, maybe their ages on paper are children, but they're not. They had to grow up immediately in seconds. And what they had to endure ever since that Saturday morning up until now is something I never thought I would see my children go through at this age. It's horrible. They lost their friends. They have friends that are hostages. They lost teachers, neighbors. It's just catastrophic.
Michal, thank you for this testimony and for being so strong to the last bullet. I think this is the sentence that we need to remember. We fight for our future generation, and you fight for yourself. So thank you for being so strong today. And it's been 31 days since this day, and hopefully you and your family will recover from that day and stay strong. So thank you very much, Michal.
Thank you.
I would like to move on to Linor Atias. She is the Deputy Director of International Emergency Operations for United Hatzalah. Linor was one of the first responders to arrive in the communities in the south after Hamas attack. She tried to save as many lives as possible, but unfortunately she also witnessed the crimes and the atrocity that Hamas committed. I would like to thank Linor for joining and also for being able to describe what you have seen on October 7th. So if Linor, you can tell us a little bit more.
Hi. 6:30, I'm still in my house in Jerusalem, receiving calls that there is alerts of rocket attack, and another alert, another alarm, and then I just go to our dispatch center in Jerusalem, answering so many phone calls. Our volunteers are just spread all over Israel, and we have volunteers living in the kibbutz, living in Sderot, Ofakim, Netivot, and every one and each of them telling us about shooting attacks. Mm-hmm. so many areas, so many main roads even, that people, also civilians, calling us, please help us, please save us. And within seconds, we understand that it's not only rockets for, Tel Aviv and the area of Gaza, but it's also terrorists. We didn't understand how many of them, though. 9 o'clock, I received a WhatsApp from my friend in the army, and she's telling me, Hailey, no, we have a 9-year-old boy telling us that he's hiding in the closet.
Wow.
And his parents got murdered. And can you help us? Can you take this call? So I moved this call to one of our psychotrauma unit volunteer. And I just take the logistic vehicle that holds all the equipment to open a hospital field, going down south. The first point that I reached was Cheletz. Over there we had an open field to manage the helicopters, just to go down, take patients to the hospitals, and also the ambulances. We just brought them to that point so we can understand where to move them forward. The connection with the IDF units was immediately, and they asked if I can come to the area of Saad. Shuva, it's near Be'eri, it's near Oz, it's near those kibbutzim, and I said yes, of course, after you. I just opened a triage field. We had so many casualties. We had paramedics of the IDF without equipment because the bases was still under attack.
Yes.
They were still fighting, so no IDF equipment available right now, only soldiers with knowledge, paramedics of the IDF with knowledge that came down south. And we opened there a triage. The IDF vehicles, protective vehicles, just bring over from
the kibbutzim,
the parties area, everywhere.
You just treat everyone.
Yeah, they brought us the survivors from shooting. A lot of procedures to save lives, a lot of blood. And the ambulances of United Hatzalah just drove back to Cheletz or directly to the hospital, according to what the Jerusalem Dispatch Center of United Hatzalah was telling them to do. And then we had this moment that the commander of a special unit, elite unit, asked if we can come up until the Yellow Gate of Be'eri.
Yes.
He explained that they secure like a secured path right now, that they are still fighting, but it's on the last line of the kibbutz, near the fence.
On what time of the day?
It was around 5:36 p.m. already.
After a long day of fighting.
Yes. And I was telling him, yes, of course, we agree, after you, whatever you need. And I was jumping on the vehicle of the IDF, asking the ambulance to go after us. And at the Yellow Gate, I was telling them in my radio device, you guys need to stop here, don't enter the Yellow Gate. And it was a blessing for them not to witness what I witnessed. The moment I entered the kibbutz, it was already start to be dark. Cars and houses are on fire. The tires, it's toxic. It's very hard to breathe. The rockets and the Iron Dome, it makes you like
freaking
out. And you hear the voices of the whistles from the guns and the grenades and the war that's still existing.
In the kibbutz.
In the kibbutz.
And you come to save life at this stage.
It feels like it's near you. And you just try to look all over who is still alive, a signal of life. But all I could see is so many dead bodies.
Of civilians?
Of civilians, kids. I saw mother on her 2 children, but they were already dead. I thought it was too many bodies to count or to understand the amount of the bodies. And you're just, like an automatic soldier.
So what you did?
Trying to look for a signal of life. And I found a man, I remember he was holding her leg with, I don't know what it was, a towel or a blanket, but because it was all sack of blood. And I performed a tourniquet on her hip, and I told the soldier, take them to the ambulance. And then someone just yelled from one of the houses, I have a wounded soldier, I have a wounded soldier. And we ran there. I just needed to cut with the scissors the uniform, and it was a very humiliating moment for me as an Israeli, as a soldier, to cut an Israeli IDF uniform. But I needed to understand where is the source of the blood. He got shot in his leg, stomach, and arm. So I treat him very fast.
To the ambulance.
To the ambulance. And then the soldier found another little boy. He was so traumatized. And he was hiding. And when he get out, he just become like a solid rocket. He didn't move, like a mountain. You couldn't shake him even. And all he repeating was, ההורים שלי מתו, my parents died, my parents died, my parents died. And he wasn't wounded or something like that, so I make the decision, take him to the IDF vehicles, not to the ambulances, because I need the place for the ambulances. And this is how we just run in between dead bodies of grandmothers and grandfathers and kids and babies. To witness a baby it's nothing that no one ever needs to hear. I don't know what the audience can understand, and it's babies without a head, because if you shot a baby in his head, nothing will left there. Smash out. And we try to save as many people as we can. Not only Jewish, also the Philippines and the Thailand that was treating the grandmothers and grandfathers. We didn't ask if you are Jewish or not Jewish. We just try to save you. And those memories, those moments that I witnessed, the sounds, the smell, also the silence, when you finally found someone who is still alive and he was keeping quiet in this horrible pain. So many hours that he was quiet so the terrorists wouldn't find him. And then when he realized that he's safe with us and he's screaming, releasing the pain until we give him morphine. We'll never forget what happened during October 7th. And I know that we will never stop to save lives.
Thank you. We'll never forget.
Thank you.
As a father of two young children, 2 years old, 4 years old, I know that some of the same age have been murdered, brutally murdered. Others have been kidnapped. This is not human, acceptable behaviors around the world that we should accept. Thank you to Alon, Michal, and Linor for sharing this testimony. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to the next panel. And the next panel is about the second time when they murders us again with a wave of anti-Semitism in the street and support for Hamas. To start this panel, we have a short video. Please.
I remember when I was a little boy growing up in Poland. After the rise of Germany, things changed even in Poland, and especially after the event of Kristallnacht. I remember being attacked on the street, being yelled at, dirty Jew, and Jews go to Palestine. I remember after the war broke out, we were occupied by Nazi Germany. We were required to wear a Star of David on our clothes. Then we were deported to Auschwitz, where this number became my identity, my birth certificate. All my family, they were murdered. It was started with words, it continued with action. I'm devastated to see how Jews are being attacked today on the street and on campus.
And Israel is worse than Nazi Germany.
Jews are not safe anywhere. I saw where anti-Semitism can lead to. Don't be a bystander. Fight anti-Semitism now.
Hello, my name is Revital Yachin-Krakowski, and I'm the Deputy CEO of the International March of the Living and Senior Advisor to the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement. Yesterday, Paul Kessler, a 69-year-old who participated in a demonstration defending Israel, was fatally attacked. Last week, a Jewish woman was stabbed in her home in Lyon, France, and there are numerous threats against Jews worldwide. Since Hamas massacre, Jews and Jewish communities around the world are under attack. We are on the brink of a catastrophe if this hatred towards the Jews does not cease now. In recent weeks, we spoke with Holocaust survivors who every year return to Poland to the March of the Living from Auschwitz to Birkenau, alongside thousands of students, both Jews and non-Jews, to educate them about the dangers of hate. The survivors are heartbroken and fearful. Today, we have the honor to speak with Nate Leipziger, a Holocaust survivor from Toronto whom we just seen in the video, who is in the past 20 years had led delegations to Poland. Also here with us today in the studio is one of the leading pro-Israeli activists, Aviva Klumpus, who is fighting against online hatred, targeting Israel and the Jewish people. Hello, Aviva. Shalom, Nate.
Hello.
Nate, these are challenging days to ask you how you feel. We saw your heartfelt message in the video. Can you share with us your feeling?
I just saw the interviews that you conducted on your station, and my heart breaks, and there's no telling how this tragedy can again happen. I mean, I was a boy, I was a child when I first experienced the Nazi invasion, the Nazi terrorism, the Nazi Holocaust, and lots of people being in concentration camp and ghettos and seeing people being shot on the street. All of that comes back, just like if there was nothing, like there were the 80 years just disappeared.
Since Hamas terror attack, Nate, there has been...
For a survivor, it's the price that we have to pay for longevity, for surviving again. And I'm just saying that we have to be hard, we have to be strong, we have to be united, we have to support each other wherever we are in the world, and we have to fight anti-Semitism together, because it will not go away by itself. unless we fight it and we are strong. Today, different than what it was 80 years ago when I was in Auschwitz-Birkenau, when I stood in front of the gas chambers and crematoria, and we were alone. The world abandoned us. Nobody cared what happened to us. Well, today, 80 years later, the tragedy is the same, but we have power. We have Israel. We have the world Jewish community that is united, and it's helping us, and it's helping those in Israel, and it's helping us to fight this terrible reoccurrence of hatred that was dormant for some 60 years. And now it's reared its head again, and we have to be strong, resilient. We have to put away our emotions, and we have to put them on suspension, because we must fight it, united, and we have to be strong and encourage our young people to fight anti-Semitism no matter where it is, on campus, in the schools, everywhere. And we have to be active.
Nate, I want to ask you, do you feel that never again promise has been broken?
It has been broken many, many times. It has been broken throughout the years when all the successive wars that Israel was attacked, and they had to fight it, and the backlash in the diaspora was here, and we found out who our friends are and who our enemies are. Unfortunately, we have very, very many enemies and very few friends. But they're there. Our friends are there. We must cherish them. We must ask them for their support, and we have to hold hands with them in order to go forward together, overcome this terrible, terrible situation that we find ourselves now, with hundreds of people being in captivity and being held hostage, and we have to steel ourselves for this unprecedented time that we are facing now. It's difficult, but we have ein brera.
Nate, we saw the rise of anti-Semitism on the streets on campus, and we spoke with many of March of the Living Holocaust survivors. Some of them are very fearful about their own family, about their children and grandchildren. How do you feel when you see the anti-Semitism of today?
Well, thank you. I have a group of young grandchildren that are very strong and committed to Israel, and they will fight, whether it's on the street or whether it's anywhere else. They will certainly not subject quietly or peacefully. I hope it never comes to this, that they have to use force to defend themselves, but if need be, they will. The time of running away from our persecutors is gone. We have to stand up, and we have to fight, and we have to fight together, and that's the way we will survive, and that's the way we will overcome this terrible period that we are experiencing now. And Am Israel High, we are going to be, we're going to survive. I'm an optimist. My optimism was shattered on October the 7th, but I recovered, and I almost lost my balance, my equilibrium, but I did not succumb, because I know that there's no choice. We have to fight.
Nate, before we say goodbye to you, Aviva, would you like to say something to Nate?
Nate, thank you for your words of strength and for sharing your story. And I think you've inspired us, because 80 years ago, the world said that they didn't know. And this time around, I, along with so many others, are going to make sure that these stories are told and told and told, and that every person is known and their story is told, so that people can never say they didn't know and they didn't see.
Thank you so much, Nate, for being with
us.
us.
I want to add, if I may,
yeah,
that we are fighting the war in the diaspora on a propaganda basis, and we must not succumb to that. They have an advantage on us that they're organized, but we have to organize ourselves because the war cannot be lost on at home, our home front due to terrible propaganda.
Thank you so much, Nate.
I'm very hopeful that this will be end soon. And as you said, the war denied that they knew anything about it. We knew. In 1945, we found out that the world knew for years and years. They knew what was happening. And like today, they did not care what happens to the Jews. It's the Jews, expendable. We have been persecuted for centuries. And, nobody, we didn't have a home. Today we have a home.
Baruch Hashem. Thank you so much, Nate, for being with us. Stay strong and stay safe. Aviva, you asked to speak with us today about anti-Semitism on campus.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Aviva Klompus, and I do want to speak to you today about the situation on American campuses. I live in Boston, home to some of the most famous universities in the world, universities that were once the pride of the country, but are now centers of moral failing. And it's not just Boston. Across the United States, we have seen campus after campus host rallies calling for the annihilation of Israel and for violence against Jews. Hate has been bubbling on campuses for years. The sickness can be traced all the way back to the Cold War of the 1960s, when the Soviet Union actively pumped anti-Zionist propaganda into academic institutions. This propaganda said that Zionism is fascist, imperialist, racist, colonialist, and it said that Zionists are Nazis. In a post-Holocaust world, where Nazis symbolize the ultimate ideological evil, and where colonialism and racism are the ultimate crimes of this century, the strategy is clear. By accusing Israel of these evils, it becomes acceptable to persecute and even use violence against Israelis and Jews. That's why we heard a professor at Cornell University say that he was, quote, exhilarated by Hamas's terror attack. It's why a professor at Columbia University wrote that the Hamas attacks were, quote, a major achievement and a source of jubilation and awe. There is a sickness in academia, in the very places where truth and integrity are supposed to be valued above all else. This rot has made it permissible for students to march on campus and chant Intifada, Intifada, from the river to the sea. We don't want no two-state, we want 48, and there is only one solution. Every one of these chants is a call to violence. Every one is a call for the destruction of Israel. And while these mobs are crystal clear with their words, the university leadership couldn't be more confused with theirs. Some have made shameful statements, others hide behind moral equivalency, and the very worst, defend the bullies. Harvard University, just down the street from me, set up a support group. But it was not a support group for their Jewish or Israeli students. It was for the students who issued a statement that held Israel, quote, entirely responsible for the war. At America's most prestigious schools, students aren't learning life's most important lesson, to tell the difference between right and wrong, to distinguish between good and evil. This past month has been a wake-up call for Jews all over the world. We saw a pogrom play out at an airport in Russia. We saw Magen Davids painted on Jewish apartments and businesses in Berlin and Paris. And we saw Jewish students at Cooper Union in New York City have to hide in a library while an angry mob banged on the doors. Every day, Jewish students and their parents reach out to tell me they are afraid. They're afraid of what they're seeing and hearing on campus. They're afraid to wear a kippah or a Magen David. They're afraid to have a mezuzah on their door. They're afraid to let people know they are Jewish. There is a war being fought right now, and it's becoming clearer and clearer that it is not just your war, it's our war. The brave soldiers of the IDF are fighting by land, air, and sea to protect their homeland, And outside of Israel, we also have to fight. We have to fight on the battlefields of law, academia, business, media, and every other front where Jews are under attack. And I can tell you that ordinary people are joining this fight. When horrible people rip down posters of the hostages, other people film them and make sure the world know exactly who they are. When people scream for Israel's destruction on college campuses, alumni refuse to make donations to those schools until the administration takes meaningful action to make their campus safe and welcoming for Jewish students. And if they don't do it, we'll sue them. We will use our Yiddish Kops, and we will use every resource at our disposal to fight, because we are in this together. You may be physically in Israel, and we may be physically in America, but in our hearts and in our minds, we are in this together, and together we will win.
Thank you, Aviva, for being with us today, and thank you for everything you do.
Imagine that you wake up in the morning and you hear this. At 6:30 in the morning, Hamas started with a big rocket attack on Israel, and from what seemed like a usual attack from Gaza, became every citizen's worst nightmare. At 7:35, terrorist units invaded the territories of Israel, driving cars and motorcycles. They started driving in cities in Israel, shooting and murdering every civilian they passed by, breaking into civilian homes, taking hostages, and murdering families, including men, women, babies, and elder civilians. While they were taking hostages and killing civilians, some of their units drove to a party, started shooting everyone they saw. Parents are still looking for their missing children, not knowing what happened to them. And unfortunately, it gets worse. The terror units of Hamas controlled the cities for more than 12 hours, filming and distributing some of their horrible actions when they conquered some of the cities surrounding Gaza. They broke into civilian homes, and those that they couldn't break into were burned, forcing the civilians to get outside and be slaughtered by Hamas cruel terror units. And no, this is not a horror movie. This is the reality right now in Israel. The terror units of Hamas call themselves the Freedom Warriors. There are hundreds of videos showing them celebrating around citizens' dead bodies, including elder women and kids. If you support Hamas, you support terror.
As we stand here today, 240 individuals are being held hostages by Hamas in the terror tunnel of Gaza. It's been 31 days. Since October 7, their family have been without any contacts, any information. They don't know who they are, or where they are, and how they feel. These hostages are kept underground in Gaza, including children, the elderly, sick individuals, women, and 2 pregnant women, and also men. The life of 214 families have been updated, leaving them unable to sleep or to speak. The international community must advocate for these families and to ensure an unconditional release of all the hostages immediately. We have today in the studio a representative of the families, the wonderful Lee and Ruby. Thank you for joining, Lee and Ruby. You represent the family, the Tzin family. You are the aunt of Daphne and Ella, and you are their cousin, right, Ruby?
Yes.
Yes. On October 7, Daphne and Ella were abducted by Hamas from their kibbutz, where they were with their father. During the kidnapping, we're going to hear about it a little bit more. Their father was killed, as well the brother-in-law, a bit later, in front of their eyes. So just take a moment to understand this situation for 2 young ladies, 2 young babies even. This is not normal. Mayan, the mother of Daphne and Ella, couldn't join us today. It's 31 days that she's missing them deeply, every day, every minute of our time. We urge you to support every families of every hostages. I would like to turn directly to Lee to tell us a little bit more about what you know, because obviously we don't know everything. What happened on October 7 to Daphne and Ella?
What happened is that 6:30 in the morning, same as all Israel at the alarm time, we ran out to the shelters, and it was ongoing alert. And in one point, I received, we tried to reach the girls, it was no answering. And in one point, I received a picture, Dafna's picture, sitting on a mattress from the Hamas telegram, and with a sentence in Arabic. And I thought, what shall I do? Shall I pass it to Mayan, the girl's mother, my sister? Or shall, first of all, I will make sure that this is not a Photoshop, that it's real, that it's not...
Can you imagine that it's real?
Because we started to understand that there is terrorists at the cities, like Ofakim, Sderot. So I started trying to make us weak. It cannot be, I cannot be there. And then I decided to contact her and to send her the picture in order to avoid a situation that it will run on the net and she will receive it just like this on WhatsApp, open it without to know that her daughter is there. So I decided to let her know. And
she didn't know. You're the first one to tell her.
I was the first one. She couldn't. Same as me. It's a Photoshop. It's not. There's no chance. And from this point, this is the same as we know at the moment. We just know that she is there. She's occupied by the Hamas. We know that they murdered Noam, her father, my sister's ex-husband, of course, his partner, Dikla, and her son, Tomer, 17 at the kibbutz.
Yes.
We think that they killed them at the kibbutz. There is a footage of Noam walking, lay on two terrorists near the cowshed, but we don't know what happened from this point, where if they killed him there or in another location on the way to Gaza when they kidnapped him.
And since October 7, you receive any information, anything
No, we
from
know
the war,
same as
from
you.
anybody?
No, we have we just know that officially they kidnapped there. But more than this, we don't have any information.
So 2 little girls in Gaza in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Ruby, I have a question for you. Like, what for you happened that day? So what you know, what you remember that happened?
I remember that when I saw the picture and mommy didn't show me, but she told me that it's an old photo. I had a feeling that there is something, that there is a problem, something was there. So I just thought maybe just my mind. But then when mommy told me, I was like in shock and scared, like they can kill them and do for them bad stuff. And since then, I'm trying to help her to get a land of now.
But I remember that I heard that you tried to call them, to text them.
Yes.
So what you did when, because they are your cousins, you have very good contact, right? So you can share a little bit what you did to try to reach out to them.
I called them like 10 times, and I also sent them the message here, and they didn't answer. And then when we wake up in the alarm, I was like maybe just practice or something. But then when it was a big booming, and the news said that there is a milchama.
Wow, yes.
Yes, I thought that it would be a tiny one, like the last one, normal, with there is booming and you're going for the shelter. But no, this time it was a different. It's a nightmare in a nightmare in a long nightmare.
You miss them a lot?
Yes.
What is the first thing you want to do with Daphna and Ella when you see them again?
I'm going to hug them, and there is some stuff that Ella and Daphna wanted some stuff, and I didn't let them. But now, because they are in a hard situation, I will give them
everything.
Stuff, not everything, the stuff that they wanted.
Yeah. So Ruby, I really hope you're going to see your cousins very soon. I want to ask you, Lee, if you have a message to the world, what do you want to ask everyone that are watching us today at home? What do you want them to do?
First of all, to understand that nobody can stand by the Hamas. It's not normal that terrorists coming into private people's houses, rape women, kidnap kids, taking the head off from babies, abusing body, burning the houses. This is not. This is brutal. This is massacre. This is not. You cannot support the Hamas. People need to understand that babies, children's, fathers, citizens, old people, Holocaust survivors are not a part of this game. The Hamas need to play a fair game, and this is not fair. This is not the way to do it. We want them to bring back, of course, all the citizens, to bring back everybody, if we can. We miss the girls. Yeah.
241 still in Gaza.
Yeah.
So let's bring everyone here around the table, this picture. We'll just share here, this is Ariel, he's the same age than my son. My son is 4 years old, this is Ariel, he's 4 years old. He's in Gaza. You have here Ella, 8 years old. Daphna, 15 years old. Their place is with their family. Their place is in Israel, where they belong to. So what we ask you to do today, for Ella, Daphna, Ariel, I have here also
for the babies.
Alon, babies. I can continue with more and more, 241 in Gaza. Take a moment, go on the website, and please note on the website, what is the website? kidnappedfromisrael.com. Print these pictures. Stick them everywhere you can. Billboards, streets, everywhere the world needs to see. And we're going to make them see with your help. So I'm asking you, I'm urging you, I'm begging you, help the families now. Now it's the time. Lee and Ruby, thank you very much.
Thank you.
From all over the world, and people are watching, I can say online, you have so much support. You need to stay strong, and we're going to fight, and we're going to continue to share your story. So I would like to thank you.
Thank you.
Now, as we end, I would like everyone to join the global petition urging head of states to assist in releasing the hostages. So please visit the website freethehostages.org, sign the petition. Our organization will deliver to many, many people around the world. We've also launched an emergency fund to address immediate needs in Israel. Every dollar is donated will be matched by all the donors of the Combat Anti-Semitism movement, and then we deploy money for everyone around the world. On November 14, we'll unite with the Jewish Federation of North America, the Conference of Presidents, and thousands of other organizations and individuals from across the United States to march for Israel. To march, to stand for the hostages and the victims against anti-Semitism. We're begging you, take buses, airplanes, train, and come to DC. November 14, this is where you need to be as American, to stand for Israel. I want to conclude today by expressing my deepest gratitude to all those that have the courage to stand up, to share their story with the world. To those fighting in the streets every day, thousands of Jews everywhere around the world, and our allies. To support Israel. To the student on college campuses for standing up for their values. To those protecting Jewish community worldwide, including police forces. To the head of state that came to Israel. To the minister, the ambassador, and legislator that are supporting Israel and our communities. To our allies, sending us thousands of messages on social media by email messages. And to the IDF soldiers in the front line right now in Gaza, in the northern border against Hezbollah and other places to combat the terrorist organizations. From here in Israel, we feel your support. We need it, and we thank you for standing by us. Together we'll prevail. We will win this war. We'll eradicate Hamas. We'll bring back the hostages, and we'll make sure that Jewish communities will feel secure. Thank you, everyone.
I'm coming home, tell the world I'm coming, and the blood will dry underneath my nails, and the wind will rise up to fill my sails. See, you can't doubt and you can't hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they're fighting for my sake. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming.
So far away from where I belong, but it's always darkest before the dawn. And you can't doubt, and you can't hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits. They are fighting for my sakes. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they're fighting for my sake. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world